2004年の年明けぐらいでそのことを教会の友達何人かに話したところじゃあみんなで、祈ろうっていうことになって、でその時私はもう20代後半に入ってたので友達も結構結婚適齢期の子が多くて、じゃあせっかくだからアメリカで旦那さんが見つかるようにみんなで祈ろうっていうことになってでみんな適齢期だったのでまあそれは悪いアイデアじゃないねみたいな軽い気持ちで、そういうことになりました。
And so I discussed my feelings of not wanting to go back to Japan with several of my church friends, and they were like, "Okay, well let's pray that God will provide you a way to stay here in the States." And at that time, I was already in my mid to late 20s, and most of my friends were also that age as well. So we were all ripe to be married. Anyway, we were all ready to be married, so we said, okay, well, let's all pray that, God will give you a husband so you can stay here in the States, and we'll pray for husbands as well. And we sort of jokingly started that, but that's what we prayed, that God would provide husbands for us.
で祈る時にはなんか具体的に祈った方がいいよっていうことになって、じゃあ細かく注文つけようってことになってとりあえずアメリカに残りたいので、まずグリーンカードを持ってる人で、その教会すごく気に入ってたので移りたくなかったからその教会の人で、それであと何だったかな、まあいろいろあったんですね。
And we started talking about how it was better to pray for specific things rather than a general thing. So we began to list things we wanted to look for in our husbands. So, well, obviously I wanted to stay in America, so I began to pray that he had a green card at the very least if he wasn't a citizen. And I also wanted to stay at the church that I was in, so I prayed that he would be a man who attended that church as well. And there were several other conditions I tacked on, but we all decided to pray for a specific person to come and become our husbands.
で結果から言うと、神様はすごくあっけなくこの願いというか祈りを聞いてくださいました。
And if I tell you the conclusion, God really answered my prayer just like that. There wasn't anything big or huge. It just kind of happened very quickly.
祈り始めたのが多分2月ぐらいだったんですけど、その年のイースター4月に、あそこにいる今の主人に教会で会って、でその年の8月にはもう婚約してて、でその次の5月にはもう結婚してました。
Alright, so we started praying for husbands in February and 2004, and in that year's Easter, which was in April that year, I met this man sitting over here, who's my current husband. I met him in April, and by August we were engaged, and we were married by May of the next year.
出会ってから婚約まで4ヶ月しかなかったので、なんかその間にもうすっごいいろんなことがあって、で友達の中にはもちろん反対した人もいたし、で自分たちでも結構何が何だかよく分かんなくって、祈る時に旦那さんを与えてくださいって祈るんですけど、まさか本当にそんなに早く与えられると思わないんですよね。それでちょっと混乱というか、すごいその4ヶ月間とにかくすごい大変でした。いろいろあって。
And we were engaged just 4 months after we first met, and it was a very short time period, and there were many things that were going on, and it was fairly confusing, and both of us didn't really know what was happening to us. We just knew that this was going somewhere. When you first start to pray for a husband, you don't really think that God's going to answer your prayer that quickly. So that added to my confusion as well, because I was like, is this an answer or what's going on here?
でちなみにその一緒に祈ってた友達もなんかほとんど同じパターンで、どこからともなくその同じ教会で同じ教会に行ってた男の子がなんかふらっと現れ、いつの間にかカップルになって、でいつの間にか婚約してて、で私が結婚した1ヶ月後にはもう結婚して、今では、男の子2人のお母さんになってます。
And my friend who was praying with me at the time for a husband, her prayer was answered almost in the same way as mine was, and she found a person who was going to our church as well, and it just came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden they were a couple, and then all of a sudden they were engaged, and then a month after our wedding they were married, and now she has 2 boys and is happily married. So God really answered both of our prayers.
で私はその後結局、婚約して1回日本に帰って大学院を終わってでまたこっちに帰ってきてから結婚したんですけど、その後はなんかグリーンカードを取るって言っても結構大変で1年以上、仕事できなかったしで主人はその時進学校に行ってたのでバイオラなんですけど結構生活は大変でした。
And so even after we were engaged, what happened was I went back to Japan once to finish up my graduate degree in the Tokyo University, and then I came back. Oh yeah, you didn't say in Tokyo. And she went back to Japan and finished her graduate degree, and then she came back over to the States to be married. But after the marriage, I still had to apply for a green card, and that took a very long time. It was over a year that I had to wait to get it. So during that time, I couldn't work and get any money. And my husband had also decided to go to seminary at Biola. But so times were very tough for the first year.
だけどまた神様はいろんな形で祈りに応えてくださって、グリーンカードが取れてもほとんど瞬間的にこことマウントサックとあとカルステッド LA で日本語を教える仕事が、与えられました。
But God really listened to our prayers during that time as well. And as soon as I got the green card and got permission to work in the States, I was able to find a job teaching Japanese, not only here at APU, but also at Mount Sac and also Cal State LA.
私はその結婚するちょっと前に病気になって医者からはもうちょっと子供を産むのは無理かもしれないねっていうふうに言われたこともあったんですけどそれもまた祈ったところすごくあっけなく、元気な女の子が生まれました。
And just a little bit before I got married, actually got very sick, and because of that illness, my doctor told me it would probably be very difficult for me to ever have children. But my husband and I prayed about that. I prayed about that, and really God answered that prayer very quickly too, and He gave me a very beautiful baby girl. We have there's a picture. There's a picture behind the words. There it is. That's.
今これ4ヶ月ぐらい前の写真なので今もうちょっと大きいので
This is a picture that was taken about four months ago, so she's a little bit bigger, but this is basically what she looks like. She's asleep now.
それで私のその祈りが聞かれるの聞かれたっていうこと自体もすごいと思うんですけどすごいあっけなくなんか祈り始めてもうすぐにその結婚のこともそうだし仕事のこともそうだし子供のこともそうだしすごいもう自分たちで考えるよりももっとなんかすごいスピードで、その自分が祈るよりももっとすごいすごいいいものを与えてくださったんだなと思います。
And looking back, I see that God didn't just answer my prayers, but I also see how quickly He answered them, and how much better His answers were than anything I had hoped for. It was just, so I really realized that praying, God will truly answer us, but He answers us in His own time, in His own way.
最後に私よく夢を見るんですけどよく見る夢があるのでそれをちょっと紹介したいんですけど
And let's see. I tend to have a lot of dreams, but there's this one dream in particular that I see over and over again very many times, and I just want to share that right now.